Okay, so welcome. We are playing Dreamspace. I've been referring to it as Dreamscape this whole time, but in the scenario in the book, it is Dreamspace, which is an alternate scenario of Hillfolk, which is a game that's played in the DramaSystem system for tabletop roleplay. I'm Mads. She, her, they are my pronouns, and I really enjoy playing tabletop role-playing games, and I found the Gauntlet community, a little bit ago, and have been very glad to be playing with everyone and finding all these wonderful people ever since. And this is my first foray into GMing a game for Gauntlet. I'll be learning the system as well as helping everybody play it as well. And for this two-shot, in the interest of time and again for the system, it's going to be sort of a hack. We're not going to be doing every single thing that's listed in the book. So just want to make that transparent for all the players and anybody that ends up watching this video. And basically my thing is to always get out the story of these characters in this particular scenario that we're going to be playing. Before I get into CATS, concept, aim, tone, and subject matter, I'd like to have our players introduce themselves and see, their name, pronouns, and anything interesting about yourself or what you're excited about for this two-shot. Okay, so let's start top down, and let's start with David.
Hi, my name is David MK, he, him pronouns, and I'm here because I want to play a little bit more of this game, Hillfolk DramaSystem game. And I'm really pleased to try another setting, another scenario. And I've been with the Gauntlet for a little bit and longtime fan. And I'm just really pleased to be with Mads and Gareth and Mona and Rod today. I'm looking forward to the two-shot session and any subsequent games in this system.
All right, and then let's go to Mona.
Yeah, hey, I'm Mona, she, her. Yeah, I almost forget Hearth is a game that exists. So I'm kind of curious to see how it plays, and this Dreamspace seems like a really interesting setting, because I wasn't as interested in the Iron Age setting of the default Hearth. So yeah.
Okay, and Gareth.
Hi, I'm Gareth. My pronouns are he, him. I've been playing with the Gauntlet for about a year now, I think it must have been. This time's flying by. Yeah, so I just love indie RPGs, and I've kind of wanted to play Hillfolk for a while because it just seemed like an interesting system. Although having read the rules in detail, I don't know, but we'll see how it goes anyway. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
And last but not least, Rod.
Hi everyone, my name is Rod, he, him. I'm looking forward to learning a new system. I think what hooked me most was the idea of traveling through dreams. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm very curious to see how that element plays out. But thanks.
Okay, so I had a whiteboard up, and it's like we'll see if we end up using it, but well, for right now, it's like I'm just gonna go ahead and close that. So concept that we're going to go over CATS, which is again concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. So concept, we're in a scenario, we're in a setting where the dreams grant the key to interstellar commerce. You can't travel faster than light, but we can cheat space by taking a shortcut through a dimension that has no concept of physical distance. The universal unconsciousness, the linked dreams of all living things. So we're going to be taking a journey on the ship Endymion, and we're going to join these characters, whether they be crew or passengers, on this journey. Aim, again, telling the stories of these characters in this two-shot, and we're going to see like within this drama system hack that I'm presenting today and for next time for part 2, you know, what stories they have to tell. And tone, I mean, it's kind of bandied about. We're going to try and keep it serious within the parameters. I mean, like with dreams, I mean, you can go pretty much anywhere and conceive anything. So we're going to try to keep this, like, you know, relatively serious. And touchstones that have been bandied about have been like Fantasy Island, or like maybe even go dark, like Tales from the Dark Side or something. But I do want to keep some sense of surreality about this. Subject matter, again, we are traveling on a ship through the dream space, the dreamscape. And so, you know, anything can happen, really. There's the concept of the above, which is where, the below, which is the actual ship itself, with the life support, the bridge, computers, galley, brig, and any other amenities the group cares about. But the fact that this is a ship that's driven by a sleeping pilot's dream, that is, again, could bring out all sorts of things. And then above is where the ship is interacting with whatever dream they're actually in. So again, surreality, and following our lines and veils on our safety tab on our character keeper, we will explore what that means. So, and then we will also be following, of course, Gauntlet's code of conduct for play. So again, trying to keep each other safe and being very responsible and respectful about our play. Okay, and then again, safety tools in place. We have our character keeper, which has the lines and veils on it, and people have marked off what they want to consider as lines that we do not want to play or include in our game, such as harm to children, harm to pregnant people, homophobia, racism, sexism, sexual assault and violence, slavery, and transphobia. And then veils, things that can be mentioned, but yet we will not role play fully, like, harm to animals, sexual content and torture. And then, of course, we have been asked first about epidemics and pandemics, okay? So we will follow that. And then also the X card is available. So if there is something that is distinctly unfun and you object to it, you can make an X in the video screen, or you can make an X in the chat to have us stop and take that out, and then essentially rewind to something different happening. Just we'll probably clarify to see what needs to be X-carded. We'll not ask why at all. And then, of course, open door policy. So for if any reason it's like, you know, it's just not working out for you, you're welcome to, you know, say, I've got to go and I'm going to take the open door. And you don't have to explain why. Just let us know if you're planning on coming back. But again, like, you know, no questions asked. All right, for that. Okay. So I think I've covered everything for the beginning of our game. And again, we're going to be playing a version of DramaSystem within the Dreamscape, Dreamspace scenario setting. And I, as game moderator, will be responsible for setting the scenario, where we find ourselves, and helping us along for how we are going to work out some of the mechanics. We may not use all of the mechanics that are listed in the book / the rules. My personal aim is for getting out as much story and drama out of these characters as possible within the safety tools. So, how we're going to open is we're going to, I think there's still some people that have to flesh out their characters. So we're going to pause the recording for a few minutes and just like make sure that we flesh out everything for these characters to get started to play. And then also we have to set up some relationships for these characters, and then we will come back and then we will introduce them and then get them started. Okay? So I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, that was a lot faster than I expected, which is awesome. Okay, so we did a lot of work offline, I will say. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the character, have the characters be introduced, and then we will establish relationships for each one. Um, yeah, and then we'll do that on screen to make sure that everybody knows who everybody is, and then sees how they work with each other or relate to each other on this ship. Okay, so let's start on the character keeper from the beginning. So Gareth, please describe or please tell us about Gordon.
Okay, I'll tell you what I've got so far anyway. So I'm thinking that Gordon is a member of the crew, but I haven't really decided exactly what their role should be. Like, they could be the captain, it could be an engineer, it could be, I don't know if we want someone who's kind of in charge and have that kind of aspect to it, which is why I thought maybe not captain, I don't know. But anyway, a member of the crew and someone who has voyaged through the Dreamspace scape before, and on a previous journey has lost somebody or lost maybe multiple people. There was some kind of a problem and some people were lost in the dream space. And so now their desire is to get this crew, the Endymion, through safely to their destination, and they're not going to lose anyone again. So they're really, I think, operating from a desire for redemption to make amends for what's happened in the past. I also had the thought that perhaps I could have lost characters that are close to other of the players' characters, maybe as a way to tie them together. So we'll come to that, I guess, in the relationships, but that might be cool, or it could even be a rescue. I don't know, but yeah, that was my thinking about that. And so the dramatic poles are kind of like flipping between I'm a confident, skilled professional who knows what they're doing to like I'm an imposter who has literally no idea what they're out of their depth and we're all doomed. So yeah, that's my idea so far.
Yeah, we all don't suffer from imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Not at all. Absolutely not. Yeah, let's go through all the characters and then we'll try to establish relationships between each one. Yes. All right. So let's go on to Mona. Please tell us about Emma Thomas.
Yeah, so I'm playing Emma Thomas. So I'm thinking she's like, she says she's like a part of a newly emerged religion called something like Church of the Broken Dreams. And they basically, their believer has to go to a particular dream and a stable dream and go to a pilgrim on foot. So kind of like real world pilgrim, but it takes place in a specific dream. And she says she wants to go on a pilgrim because she's a believer. But the truth is that her father was a believer and he went missing on a pilgrim. So right now she's kind of like, she's trying to reconnect with her father by going on the same pilgrim, but she's not sure if she actually believes in anything or like if she's just trying to find her father. So I put her dramatic role as, am I a believer looking for truth or am I an unbeliever looking for facts?
And as we well know, we are always the dichotomy. So, Rod, tell us about Dr. Emily Wells.
Hi, yes, so Dr. Emily Wells is one of the scientists who helped design the Endymion. And I know, I think in an initial discussion, I had mentioned she'd travel under, she was gonna be a passenger under a different name. And I think maybe she wouldn't do that. I think she would probably just go in as herself, because she has her mission is to save her lover's life, who is in a coma, and she's planning to. Should I explain all this, or should I leave it to gameplay? She needs to use the Endymion to launch a plan to help help her lover wake up before she dies. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think her dramatic pulls are to see what she's willing to do in that goal. and what she's willing to sacrifice of herself, and how much she'll be willing to jeopardize others as well.
I mean, especially with other people possibly knowing who Dr. Wells is as the designer of the Endymion, maybe there will be questions asked about why it's not working. So when we enter our scene.
Right.
And finally, let's hear about Fetch from David.
Hello. So Fetch is like, I don't know if any of you have actually been on a ship, cruise ship or something like that. They're the kind of person who help you get stuff done, help find you your toothbrush, your missing luggage, bring you the food to your room. They're basically made out of dream stuff. Like think of like Siri or Alexa made into like a persona. And so whenever Fetch is around, they're always willing and able to serve to make sure that the passengers have the best experience on their voyage. And I kind of see Fetch as there's this default sort of generic persona like appearance, but whenever they're near you, they start to like mirror you. So they take on characteristics that are familiar to you to make sure that you're comfortable and calm around them. So like in this example, they might grow some hair or change their skin tone or something to help connect with you at an unconscious level. And also they sort of like bond with passengers, you know, as they experience them, and typically they get reset at the beginning or at the end of one voyage and the beginning of the next one. So it's sort of this persona entity that's there to help make sure that everyone has a great voyage.
But even being an AI, dream AI of sorts,
Whatever it is, yeah.
I'm sure that Fetch, like any sentient entity, will have desires and goals of their own. So, all right. So let's go into relationships. I think because of the characters that we have, the way it's laid out in our character keeper is that the characters each have a name relationship to, you know, said character, and then I want. So with each character that is being related to, then I want to see from each of you, like, what would you want from that other character? Okay, so we can go to, let's start in reverse. So we'll start with Fetch first. So yeah, in relation to Gordon, you know, like how do you think Fetch is related to Gordon, and what do you think Fetch wants from Gordon?
I feel like whatever the title or rank that Gordon goes with, I definitely feel that for Fetch, he sees Gordon as like his superior commanding officer, right? So if there's something that needs to be done that Fetch can do, he's on it. You know, if it's we need PR, we need extra towels, we need a giraffe, whatever it is, Fetch will try to make sure it happens. So I think that what he wants from that relationship is, you know, respect, or maybe even to be treated more like a person, like an actual, like not just an AI or whatever that just gets a command line that's sent off to do something.
Yeah, go ahead and put that into your
Yep.
cells for the character keeper. So Gordon relationship, like your you know, he's the head officer. I can't think of what I wanted to say. Commanding officer. Yep. And then what you want from what Fetch wants from Gordon. Okay.
Yep.
And then what does Fetch want or how does he or they, excuse me, how do they relate to Emma Thomas, the pilgrim?
So, Rod, did Emma create the ship? Did she create this system that allows Fetch to exist? Like, how far afield do you think that goes for Emma?
So I was thinking that Fetch is a newer piece of technology that was not part of the original design, but came up after the ship had already gone through the dream world, and they had studied the dream world and was able to create them. And I think Fetch might be an X factor that she's worried about, if it's going to be an obstacle or possibly an asset that she can use and maybe hack into to get what she wants. If that works with you.
Oh, that works with me.
Oh, those aftermarket editions. Oops.
It's like you get a car and then you get your GPS system added on, or cruise control,
Right.
or whatever. I think that Fetch is maybe feels that Emily is kind of like a celebrity type. Like there might be some fan, like you're a star, right? In this dreamscape sort of enterprise, like wow, like until like the reality hits, like I think it's going to be a lot of like fan type celebrity status going on. So let me write that in. So fan, I'm going to say your biggest fan.
Do you think that Fetch would do anything for Emily, knowing that?
I think so. On the ship, there might be like referred to as like VIP or whatever, right?
Right.
So I think definitely that Emily has a lot more leverage than even a normal crew member or passenger would. So I think what Fetch would be interested in is seeing if Emily could design some way for Fetch to exist off the ship. Like, I don't know if Fetch might be thinking in ship terms, like if I wear this life preserver, can I continue to exist off ship? I can actually like go to the places, like when you go into port and people debark and go to like travel and tour in these different spaces. Like Fetch doesn't even get to do that. So I think Fetch is like thinking, oh, this is a brilliant designer. I'm sure they could come up with something.
Love it. All right. And then how does Fetch feel about Emma, the pilgrim?
I think suspicious, because I feel like Fetch doesn't really believe, like thinks that like faith and belief are just a construct. Even though Fetch is a construct. doesn't put any like, it just doesn't like work to Fetch's mind. Like it just doesn't compute. So I think Fetch will do their job and be very courteous and everything and hope to get a good review. But just inside, Fetch doesn't really, they think that they're delusional perhaps, and that maybe at some point they'll realize that this is not a thing. Is that okay with you, Mona?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the Fetch's God is living and breathing and can possibly grant him or them a way off the ship, as opposed to Emma's idol God, which is
Exactly.
intangible. So
Right. That's
yeah.
just that's not science. Come on.
Right. So can see that. I can see that. Okay. Excellent. I mean, do you want anything from Emma though? That's the question.
Ooh, I think I want Emma to to give up this hokey religion, in the words of Han Solo, and come to terms with what's real in this dreamscape.
Got it. Real. That's a funny word, isn't it? All right. Let us go on to Dr. Wells. Dr. Wells. Meeting Fetch.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we'll start with Fetch. Yeah, I think I meant I think she views him as like a new technology to get more familiar with. I think she would want to. How do I put this? I want to hack to a system and use it as a tool. All right, hack into system, and hopefully that will work.
And then how do you feel about Emma, the pilgrim?
Oh, right, I put Mona, sorry. Emma, I think, yeah, so I think religion in general, she doesn't have much use for as a scientist. And although in some ways, her mission's a little bit of a leap of faith, ironically. I think that she's a little nervous about having, these new religious people, the people of this new religion here, because she knows that zealots can do, they're unpredictable sometimes. And I think she wants Emma to stay out of her way, I guess, to not interfere with her plans. That's her hope.
Should be interesting. We'll see. And then finally, Gordon, because Gordon is a commanding officer on this ship. I mean, and we haven't seen quite yet how the passengers and crew will interact with sleeping pilot who's here. So for being someone that's actually present, what is Gordon to Dr. Wells?
Gordon is she's really hoping that she can convince him not to oppose her in what she's trying to do. And right, so that's her hope. In the same way, she's hoping Fetch will, to get Fetch on her mission. Even more so, she needs Gordon, especially if he's going to be the engineer. Okay, especially as he's going to be the engineer. I think that would go a long way in helping her. Yeah.
Indeed. We'll see.
I'm still flip-flopping, sorry, between engineer and captain.
Not a problem.
I keep thinking it'd be much better if I was the engineer. And I'm like, no, wait, if I was the captain, I'm sorry.
Either way works as far as me. I'm concerned.
we can
cut you're both.
I'm gonna be the captain engineer.
He's got to wear many hats and then he flips them every time. Okay.
It might be more dramatic as a captain, but it's completely up to you.
Yeah, I flipped back to captain again. At one point I was like, definitely engineer, but I was like, I'll be the captain. It's more dramatic if I'm a captain.
That's That's fine. It's like you want to be if you want to be at the comm and doing the engage.
It's just it's just the last couple of things like this I've ended up being the captain. I just think it's like I think nobody ever wants to be the captain, and then so I end up going, okay, I'll be the captain then, and then I just feel like I'm bossing everyone around and stuff. But I'm sure no one will listen to me, so it'll be.
You do realize that one of the sayings is it's like the captain goes down with the ship, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the captain is much more dramatic than an engineer. I'm just gonna be bold and be the captain again.
Well, could you have been like the engineer, but on one of these missions the captain went missing, and I mean you're acting captain. You've been promoted due to mishap.
Yeah, I like that because that kind of heightens the whole "am I an imposter" thing.
Yeah, that I love that.
Yeah,
You're kind of
Wow.
like waiting for corporate or whoever to say, "Oh, by the way, your replacement's on the way."
You're basically like, one of the things that's driving you is like, you need validation.
Yeah.
This is part of your dramatic polls thing. All right. So, flip flop as you will, but I mean, I think that's the best explanation ever. It's like, you got upgraded, man. Engineer, like, like acting captain. Shoot. All right. So let us move to Emma. All right. So, Emma, you're on this pilgrimage. I mean, how how are you relating to Gordon?
Yeah, so do we know that Gordon is the acting captain, or do we just know him as the captain?
I leave that up to you. What do you think? I mean, let's put it this way. Emma being in her pilgrimage, would she care? That's my question. Would you really drill down and care?
But I think the question is because she lose her father during the pilgrim. So if she knows that Golden had also lost someone, that might change how she thinks about him.
Or did she know that
Yeah.
Gordon was on that mission, that your father was lost? That's a question.
Oh shit, what if my father was the captain?
You may have a little bit of resentment there.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've already built this up fabulously, and this is why I love this stuff. Okay, we can totally do that if that's okay. If that's okay with you.
Gareth, what do you think?
I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, okay. So I would say the relationship is resentment, and what I want from Golden is to know what happened. Yeah.
Love it. Oh my God. All right. So, as a fellow passenger, what do you think of Dr. Wells? I mean, would you know that she's the one that designed the Endymion in the first place? And would you care? I mean, again, it's like, it's coming from this aspect of, it's like, if you're concentrating on your pilgrimage, it's like, would you know these facts? And again, would you?
Yeah, I think like she would know enough about these things to know that Wells is a scientist in that field, but she wouldn't know like she specifically designed this ship. So I'm kind of thinking that her general feeling about Wells would be annoyance, because I'm thinking like Emma in her daily life, she's kind of like a worker at like maybe a tech company or such, but she's not like any head of department or anything. So she's kind of like, she's used to being around people with like good like diplomas and doctorates, and she does not think very highly of them just because of their education. So I think she's kind of annoying, and I think what she wants from Wells would be yeah, I think maybe she would have like a secret desire to like show her up, like, oh, you scientists don't know everything, you are not as smart as you think.
Like one-upmanship of some sort,
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah. I mean, and maybe you do have some sort of knowledge, because again, it's like, you're coming at it from an opposite point of view. I mean, Dr. Wells is here because of scientific chicanery, and then you're here because of like some faith-based discovery, searching, that sort of thing. So we'll see what happens. And then Fetch is around. What do you think a fetch.
Yeah, I think I'm just kind of creeped out because I have never been on a dream ship and I have never even been on a cruise ship. So like the idea of a gopher that's just like constantly hovering around you is like unsettling enough, and fetch is like a super duper dream version of that. So I think I'm kind of unsettled by then. But I think like because she doesn't feel like fetch mean to be unsettling, so I guess she would want to understand that. Yeah.
I love this because Fetch is probably like trying to do the minimum viable service for you and then move on. And you might be like asking questions or like trying to get to know Fetch. Fetch is just like
Can't wait to see those scenes. Awesome. All right. Fabulous. And then last but not least, Gordon. All right. So how do you feel about Emma? Do you know that she's the former captain's daughter?
I think I probably figured it out. Like, I think I would have seen like the passenger manifest and seen the name originally, and that would have already made me think about it. So, like in order to form what I want, I think I need to act as if I know anyway, even if I don't in the opening scenes know and we discover during play. But I think either would work actually. Like we could maybe he suspects but doesn't know, and we can see that in play. But eventually I think he's gonna want forgiveness basically for what he's done. So I think that's what he wants from the relationship. He needs Emma to forgive him.
But here's the thing,
totally.
because I mean, like, are you thinking of forgiveness in terms of like, I'm sorry I took your dad's position, or are you thinking of forgiveness because did you do something?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot he was the captain. So yeah, so I think I definitely know who she is then. Yeah, for sure.
He probably showed you pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like super awkward now. Yeah, I think it's forgiveness for everything, right? It's just like feel like there's the guilt of actually losing him, and there's the guilt of like then sort of kind of benefiting from it by being promoted, which is not really something that he wants, but something he has accepted because someone needs to do it, and he just wants to make sure that nothing else bad happens. So yeah, for sure. I think he feels super guilty about everything.
I'm going to be wondering whether Gordon's going to feel extra responsible for Emma as this journey progresses. So it's a thought. All right. And Dr. Wells, kind of like a VIP of this ship. So what is...
Yeah, I think he was formerly an engineer as well. So I think it's like kind of tricky because I think he's got this sort of doubt about his abilities. And I think he needs some kind of validation or like approval from Dr. Wells because he respects her work because she like designed the ship that they're in, that he was an engineer of and is now in charge of. But like he's not going to want to go along with her derailing the mission and endangering everybody. So he's gonna, from the relationship, I think he's going to want approval or some kind of respect or approval or validation of his competence and his abilities. But it's going to be tough because he's not going to want to just like let Dr. Wells do what she wants to do. So yeah, I think that's going to be interesting.
And I just want to point out for Dr. Wells, or ask a question. Dr. Wells, do you or do you not know about that incident where Gordon lost a passenger?
All right, so I don't think I don't know. I mean, it would be bad PR. What's
Or actually, like not a passenger, I forgot. So basically it's like, where Gordon was on that mission that lost Emma's father, the former captain.
okay. So
that's a little bit more high profile. So I'm just like,
right. Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, I think she does, and I think she's kind of a meticulous person in her planning. I think she would have researched most of the crew and the passengers, so she might even know a little more than the public knows. Yeah.
Interesting to think about. Okay, so, and then like you have Fetch. Fetch is there. Fetch is always there. So, what does Gordon think? I mean, and I'm going to assume between two of you that obviously Gordon's been there for previous missions, and Fetch has been there recently and for these previous missions as well. So, what is your relationship to Fetch now, Gordon?
Was Fetch installed? Was Fetch there during? Okay, was Fetch there when we lost the captain, or was Fetch installed after the incident?
What do you think?
Good question.
So if it's after the incident, Gordon could resent, like almost like he's watching over me to make sure I don't mess up, right? Like a fail safe. Something happens to Gordon, then maybe there's some like fail safe programming that Fetch commandeers the ship or something, or at least
I'm
that's
starting to get scared for my life now.
of fear, right?
It's gonna get all like
I put that-
2001, and you're like,
Yeah,
"Not
because
me,
I
yeah,
put,
lost
yeah,
this."
I'm your Hal. No, but I put down on my relation with you, commanding officer for now.
For now.
So if we want to go there,
we could touch upon that. Some people have some dark shit going down here. So, you know.
But if you want me to have been there when we lost the captain or some of the other issues, then it could be maybe like almost like a confidant or some more supportive role, since we don't seem to have a lot of crew members, at least not yet. So I'm fine either way.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was just thinking that I needed Fetch to just be obedient and do my bidding, because I needed to like make this mission a success. But he's totally getting compromised by Dr. Wells. But yeah, I don't know. I think if we're like kind of friends, then the betrayal would be even greater. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, like I feel like this is like one of those comedy like romance movies where there's like a best friend who kind of gets sidelined again and again. Like they get told stuff and trusted, but when it really matters, they get stepped over. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
That's lovely drama. You guys are just giving me so many good, great vibes. In a dark way. It's great.
And that'll push me to any number of other characters. So that's awesome.
Sure. Well, I mean, like, you kind of have like your eye, already on like what you're planning on doing, Fetch. But I mean, again, like this multi-layered bit that you have with Gordon could pose some interesting little wrinkles for later on. So how do you think Gordon feels about Fetch?
So
depending on when he was there, when he was installed. Well, I mean, when they were installed. Sorry.
So I think he was installed. I think he went on the mission that failed as well. I think he was installed before, and I think that I kind of see him as my like best friend now. That like there's no other crew members around.
I mean, I'm as moderator, it's like I'm essentially playing like, Sir kind of appearing and then disappearing out of this film. So I mean, maybe there's like a minimal crew. So
okay, so there's some other people around.
Yeah.
So I think as an engineer, though, I feel like he probably would have been quite close to him. Like he's the sort of person that could become friends with an artificial being, right?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, like, being tinkering, and then maybe Fetch will be like, can I get you your like, your like sonic screwdriver or something like that? I mean, like, what do you need in this moment to be able to fix blah, blah, blah. But something happened. So maybe there is a bond with whatever happened that lost Captain Thomas. So that's a thought. I mean, you guys can think about that between you two. But again, I mean, like, if Gordon's like, feeling the vibe with Fetch, I can understand that. Oh, there's an interesting questions. Interesting
With a
questions in
yeah,
the
I
chat.
know. Yeah.
Urgh. Oh God.
What was the nature of the incident? Yeah, and
Yeah.
how
What?
complicit were we? I don't know yet.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I mean, again, we can play these scenes to see how they go. Before we get started on establishing mechanics, let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break, and then we will come back and then establish how we're going to have people call scenes and then like see how they want to pair up or get together as a group or whatever to be able to dramatize the stories that they're going to tell. All right, so we'll be back in 5, pausing the recording. Okay, we're back. And just want to give a little bit of background about this particular setting. So again, in the Dreamspace universe, dreams grant the key to interstellar commerce, can't travel faster than light, and we're essentially cheating space by taking this shortcut through a dimension of the universal unconsciousness. So going through linked dreams, essentially. Traveling requires living and technological components. The pilot enters a medically induced coma and must remain asleep the entire journey. If they wake, the ship and everything in it will be scattered across the dream space. And because the ship is essentially wrapped up in the dreams of the sleeping pilot and drawn through the dream port's gate into the universal unconscious. So there's a navigator that would essentially be like, an NPC in this case, like played by the GM. And works with the sleeping pilot to guide the ship towards its destination, the open gates to explore other dreams, setting a course through known dreams. These are oddly consistent, well-documented dreams on every planet that has been previously encountered. So dreamers that are just like totally consistent and dream like the same thing all the time. And again, there's 2 parts to the dream space. The below, which is the ship, with all of its amenities, accoutrements, everything that is the ship. But because it's wrapped up in the pilot's dream, some of their subconscious may leak into the ship. So we'll see how that gets manifested as the characters go through. And then above is where the pilot's dream intersects with the local dream that the ship is passing through. So while there's some familiar aspects to that in particular environment, the alien dreams may have strange logic and vistas to behold. So the pilot's dream is ensuring that the ship, the Endymion, remains a vessel in motion, but the above determines what that is and the current dream environment, how the dream environment looks. Okay. So very important for engineers / navigators / anybody on this ship, for crew. Shifting to a new dream requires the vessel to physically move through the current dream. The crew and the passengers are physically in the dream and can be hurt or killed by the things encountered in the above. Any obstacles in the above have to be overcome in the subjective reality of the dream, which leads us into our theme of this 2-shot of broken dreams and unfinished business. So we find ourselves in this particular situation where the current dream, something about the current dream has made the ship stop moving. So any obstacles encountered in the dreams in the above often represent a quandary in the mind of the dreamer, the alien dreamer, or the pilot. So meanwhile, each member of the crew or passengers is struggling with their own failings and secret shames. Can this damage, either one, ever be repaired? So we may not complete, any character arcs in this 2-shot, but I mean, we'll definitely get an eyeful of what they're going through for sure. All right. So I will pose this as an establishing question to each one of our characters for today, with the theme of broken dreams and unfinished business. What is it about the current dream that has made the ship stop moving to you, the character? All right. So I'm going to start with Gordon.
Okay. So something about this this other person's dream has stopped the Endymion,
Mhm.
but you're asking like, what does that? Is that how
Bless you.
what my
What?
character?
Yeah. What? I mean, being the former engineer and now captain of
Mhm.
this particular dream. I mean, like, what does the above look like for say, right? I mean, so what do you think it is about that current dream that's making the ship stop? I mean, it could be visual, could be a feeling, a vibe, something.
Well, if it's Gordon, then I guess it's going to be like machines and stuff. So, kind of imagine that there's like there's a lot of like big gears and cogs and things, and that they're jamming and they're like moving and coming back and moving and coming back, and for some reason that needs to be resolved before anything can move forwards.
And then, Emma, I mean, from your vantage point, as a passenger, I mean, like, what do you notice about the current dream that the Endymion is in that you feel has made it stop moving?
I think I keep hearing a noise, like, I don't know, it's like some kind of deep sea animal, maybe a whale, or it's kind of like a whale, it's kind of like wind, and it's also kind of like something dragging on the hull of the ship. And I think they may have something to do with it.
Is it like you think it's I mean, from Emma's perspective, do you think it's something having to do with the weight of this thing, or you think it's actually impeding the Endymion's progress?
Yeah, I think there's something actively impeding us.
Okay. Let's go to Dr. Wells. Like, from Dr. Wells's perception, what do you think she sees or feels or senses about why the ship has stopped?
So this is an alien's dream, is that correct?
Yes, because again, we're using the linked unconsciousness to travel to different planets, different worlds through the dreams of these consistent dreamers. So yeah, I mean, it could be like, completely alien. We're not on Earth anymore.
I think the this alien consciousness is oh, you know what? I think it's kind of like like a cicada, where they're asleep, and we thought it was a stable, constant, a constant, but she's wondering now if maybe this thing is waking up, which is what's causing the problem.
And then finally, Fetch. What does Fetch think is causing stoppage?
So I think Fetch believes that we're running out of fuel, right? And that the sleeping pilot needs to be recharged, potentially like like an oil light comes, reserviced after so many miles. Like, I think they think that there's something going on with the pilot or the pilot interface that needs to be handled. Maybe they just need inspiration. Who knows?
So perceiving the way this works in terms of the rules in general. What happens is that there's a precedence order that's set in the beginning. And so that means that each player takes turns being the caller of a scene. Okay. And then what this plays out to be is like a whole bunch of scenes where, we see who gets to be the petitioner and the grantor. So the petitioner is the one that is being asked of to give something to, or excuse me, the petitioner is the one who's asking something of the grantor in the scene. And for dramatic scenes, it's going to be something that will fulfill a want or kind of resolve some kind of dramatic pull for the person that is petitioning for this request. Okay. And then depending on who gets a drama token, like, who has success in the particular scene, that person gets a drama token, which can be spent on other things for later on for future scenes. Okay. So, the way I'm working out the caller precedence is that I'm just going to say in order of how I'm putting them as moderator, that person gets to be the caller, and the caller's responsibility for the particular scene would be to say who's the cast, and the caller themselves does not have to be part of that cast. Okay. So calls the cast, like who's in the scene, the setting, like where it is on the ship or in the above or what have you, a time break, like how far along is this particular scene, like after the stoppage, a few days before, I mean, however you want to call that particular scene. And is it dramatic? I'm aiming for dramatic the whole time, because procedural, it's like that at this point doesn't necessarily matter. And then to describe the situation, like what the cast is going to be doing. So again, cast, who's in the scene, setting, where, time break, like does it happen before the stoppage, does it happen after the stoppage, and how long after that particular thing, the mode, dramatic or procedural, and then a short description of like where they, like what they're doing in the scene. Okay. I will enact some of the other things that will happen, and I will do some leading questions, and I will call when the scene is ended. Okay. But the precedence order of the callers will be, we will have Emma call the first scene. And again, as the caller, you do not have to be in the scene yourself. You would just say those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. All right. So, and I will be happy to remind you like what you need for each scene, like as your turn comes up. So Emma is the caller first, then Fetch, then Dr. Wells, then Gordon. Okay. So Emma, what scene would you like to see first, and who's in it and such?
Yeah, think I think there must be a scene where like the passengers are asking the crew about why we have stopped, right? Like what's happening. Yeah, because as soon as we noticed what's happened, I think that's the first thing that would happen.
Okay, so does that mean like all excuse me, all 4 of you are in the scene, which is, as far as I know, can be perfectly fine. That works.
I think like Emma and Dr. Wells would be in the scene because they are the passenger, and Gordon will be on the scene because he's the acting captain. I'm not sure about Fletcher. I guess that's up to them, because like whether the captain need that, like want them to help with, I don't know, explaining or like calm the passengers or something. Yeah.
And there is a mechanic in here where it's like, you know, you would be spending drama tokens to be able to crash a scene or not crash a scene, but we're not going to get into like, you know, that deep of a dive at this point. I mean, I want people to just be able to enjoy like role playing and being able to figure out like what scenes need to be played out. So that's perfectly fine if we want to start the first scene as called by Emma with all four of you. I mean, it makes sense for Fetch to kind of like be nearby, the very
Yeah.
least. All right,
I
and then
I love the idea of the montage of like Fetch is just sort of like appearing and disappearing to reassure different people.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, and then so you've called the cast. Now setting, where is this? On the Endymion, or is it like, you know, below in the Endymion or above like in the dream that you're all looking at going, what the hell? Where's this set?
I
Emma?
think there's probably like maybe they are gathering in something like what do you call it, like a hall, a mess hall or something
Yes, like
where
the
like
mess hall is fine. Yeah.
the crew can like address the gathered
Mhm.
passengers at once, and you can, and the passengers can like raise questions and
Sure.
be heard or something like that. That's
Great.
probably below, right? That's
Yes.
part of the ship.
In the below, absolutely. And then time break. I mean, like how soon after the the stoppage happened do you think that the crew is getting people together? Or do you think the passengers are the ones who are demanding answers?
I think like I think the crew will probably try to like fix the issue as soon as like they are trying to figure out what's wrong. But I think after like a few hours, people are starting to have questions like why have we stopped and what are the crews doing, and so I think as more and more people start to like reach out to the crew and ask questions, they decide to like, oh, we are not going to solve or make any progress on this anytime soon, but we do need to address the passengers, so let's do that first.
Sounds good. And then that just also covers the description part of it. So I think we've covered everything. And then again, I'm going to call this dramatic because there's no way this is a procedural. So let's go ahead and have this scene. All right. As needed, if the caller, which is you in this case, Emma, if you need me, the moderator, to be able to enact other crew members or other stuff going on, then please let me know and I will oversee the situation and then see where things might need to be interjected. But I want to see how this plays out first. Okay.
Yeah.
And I will try to avoid my tendency to do cinematic cuts into other things because you're all here in the same scene, so there's no point. Um, okay, so yeah, you're all in the mess hall. Yeah, so this way everybody is available. Fetch is, you know, going back and forth between passengers and crew just to make sure everybody's got what they need for this particular thing. And Gordon, where do you think you're sitting or standing? And because it's like, you know, people can't see the pictures on the character keeper. When you enter the scene, please give a small description of what you look like.
Okay, so do you want me to describe where I am or just open the scene? Or?
Yes, like to be able to describe like, you know, what Gordon is doing and what he looks like. Yes.
So it sounds like he's kind of been summoned here to explain himself to the crew is kind of the message I'm getting. So so I kind of imagine that no, explain himself to the passengers. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. And so I think he's probably like come in to the mess hall and the passengers are already here. I'll let them describe what they're how they're acting. But so he comes in quickly and kind of like distractedly, like he's thinking about other things. He's clearly not at ease. He's clearly stressed out about things. I think, let's see, I'm imagining him being like fairly fairly like shorter than average height, but kind of a little squat. He's got like a beard and fairly like messy hair. Like so it doesn't look like the kind of slick like captain look. He definitely still has a kind of more of an engineer vibe to him, which isn't helped by the kind of ruffled appearance, isn't helped by the current situation. So yeah, I think he hurriedly enters the room. He's kind of a little frustrated, I think, as he enters the room, and that comes across in his body language.
What does your uniform look like? Just so I'm on the same page with you.
So I'm kind of imagining there's something it's kind of like a gray, like it's gray all over, right? Like, and it's kind of like almost like a boiler suit or something that fits all over. But it's like, but I think it's two pieces. I think there's like a trouser section and a top section to it, and it's kind of got. I think it's probably like a bit sci-fi looking. So it's got like kind of panels on it that are like black or something. Like so it's black and gray kind of colors, which for some reason to me feel like dream colors. I don't know why. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm imagining. And I think he's probably got some kind of epaulet insignia thing that's like just been swapped out to be the captain or something. It's maybe not quite stuck on straight or something.
Just out of curiosity now, as we well know from other series and such, like do the different levels have different colors as well as the pips or epaulets, or is this something that's a throwback from his being upgraded really quickly from engineer to captain? He's basically wearing his
like he's wearing engineer
right.
uniform, but he's got like a captain insignia kind of stuck onto it or something. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, just wondering. All right, continue.
Yeah, I don't know if you want me to like, do we want to introduce what he sees in the room, like what the other characters are doing at this point?
I would say it's like, as people like, make their exhortations about what the hell's going on. And I mean, okay, so yeah, so there's maybe a couple of other passengers, and maybe there's like, one or two other crew members that are just kind of like doing the maintenance of the ship. Some of the passengers are looking kind of edgy and making demands of saying, what is the meaning of this? I mean, why are we stopped? I mean, this ship is supposed to go on to the next port of call. What's going on? And then Emma and Dr. Wells, you can either hang back or you can pitch in on this demand for information.
I'm gonna stride up to the captain, and so I think Dr. Wells is a woman with a very no nonsense demeanor, very all business kind. Her resting face, her lips are just like a straight line usually, and I think she has a presence and an authority that she projects as a lead scientist in different projects, and she was probably like that even as a child. Yeah, and I think she would just go directly to the captain just to talk to him privately before he addresses the ship. And she's worried, but she's wondering if this is an opportunity as well.
That sounds like it should be a different scene, but I mean, like in this particular scene, what do you think that Dr. Wells would be doing? And she doesn't necessarily have to get in on the vibe. I mean, if she's hanging back, then that speaks volumes.
She's gonna be okay. If you'd prefer like her discussion with the captain to be a separate thing, I think that she will wait to hear what he has to say, but she's gonna be ready to jump in with her own words if needed.
And how's Emma feeling about this?
Yeah, so I think Emma is like in her 30s. She's dark skinned have long wavy hair, and she's just kind of like, she has a kind of a hipster looking dress, and I think right now she's sitting and she has something like a rosary, but instead of a cross or anything, it has like a butterfly made of jade. And she isn't exactly like praying or anything, but she's like just like twirling the bracelet in her hand, and just kind of trying to stay calm and wait and see what happens. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the captain enters the room and then addresses the assembled passengers. And he says, please, there's no cause for alarm. We've hit a slight delay and no need to be concerned. We are working to resolve the issue and we will be underway shortly.
Was this news I hear about there's some kind of thing on the ship? Is that like stopping us from moving? Is that what's going on?
We have hit a morphitic anomaly and we are working to resolve the issue. We need to phase shift the coils and there's many things to do, but there's nothing to worry about. So he basically can't resist it, like getting into too much technical detail, which probably doesn't reassure anybody.
I mean, like, and if he does, it's like, you know, there's some muttering going on. It's like, I don't really understand what he's talking about. What the hell? I mean, it's like, what? It's like, and then what's Fetch doing while this is going on? Technobabble defensive and deployed. Love it.
Yeah, I don't really see Fetch as being very like proactive. He's just trying to like keep the passengers like at a a safe level and making sure that the crew can do what they need to do. So he's basically just trying to like make sure everyone is at least not outraged, giving them like a coupon or like a refill or whatever it takes to keep them from like rioting. Like cooler heads will prevail eventually. So it's to give everyone some breathing room and to hopefully actually get the people, once they get over this sort of impulse to be irate, to settle down and like make the best of it. So we'll probably see Fetch like describing like, oh, and on this part of the above you can go do this, and here's a discount for this event. You can go parasailing through a tsunami, or you can go ride the dinosaurs of Dolly, and just kind of like get their minds off of their high-strung emotions.
I think for those that are like being more vocal about their mood, I think those are the ones that are like, more appeased and more quickly appeased by Fetch's attention. So they're going to be like, oh, well, it's like, I guess so. And then like, ask you for a drink, it's like,
Yep.
can I have my mojito right now? Like whatever, instead of at 2 o'clock, like I normally do, whatever.
Yep.
And so they'll be the ones that are actually going to drift out of the room faster, because it's like Fetch is giving them the roundabout, which is cool. What, if anything, what, if anything, are Emma and Dr. Wells going to be doing as Gordon sees his opportunity to slowly escape or quickly escape, however he wants to deem it?
Before he does that, I'll jump up and I'll just say, thank you, Captain. I'm gonna force a smile on my face. And yeah, and I'm just gonna be there. Well, is there gonna be a petitioner and a grantor in this scene, or is that not?
No, this is a kind of like just a general like establishment scene. I mean, excuse me. When it comes to the next turn for,
right.
I guess, Fetch to call a scene, they can choose to have a scene with whomever, and then that will be where we start to do the petitioner grantor
Okay.
by play. So
cool. So but I think I do have like one of my motives is to get into good graces of the captain by doing this.
Okay.
By giving support and and just assuring people, oh, the Endymion is can handle this. It's been designed for all contingencies, and we have a trained captain at the helm. So please, please don't don't let your fears get ahead of you. We'll be fine.
So some of those passengers that have kind of hung back and weren't necessarily like, waiting to be coddled. Those passengers are listening to you, Dr. Wells, and being like, well, that makes sense. I mean, I guess he's going to do what he's going to do. I mean, like, it's not going to be quick or easy, I'm sure. So, and then they'll start to file out as well. Pardon. So yeah, I mean, Emma, were you going to interact with anybody?
Yeah, I think I still have my rosary in hand, and I with a very serene and calm tone, I ask Golden, but that's not a captain's uniform, is it? Like, it's almost as if you just got promoted, or so. Are you really sure about what you are doing for what is happening here?
Several passengers, like the ones that are remaining, like, start to swivel their heads around and look at Emma. What does that mean? What do you mean?
I said, oh, well, my father used to work on a ship just like this, so I know what his uniform looked like. And that doesn't look much like the captain's uniform to me.
Murmuring amongst those that are left, and they start looking at Gordon.
He says, I assure you, everything is in hand here. I am in command of this ship. It's true, I was an engineer by trade, but I am now the captain. Well, technically the acting captain. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Everything is in hand. There's no cause for alarm.
Murmuring. And then they're just gonna like kind of slowly file out. But just as they're doing so, they are giving you a look, Gordon, like, I don't know, man. It's like, you sure you got this? I mean, like, they're the calmer ones. They're like, probably smoking weed or whatever, like in their bunk room or whatever. And they're just like, hopefully you got it. I mean, so long as we're still able to get moving eventually, then I guess it's okay. But wait, what?
Yeah, I'm gonna intercept the people as they file out.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna say, don't worry. Who would you want to be in charge of a ship other than the engineer who helps it run, right?
Oh,
You don't want a
yeah,
bureaucrat. You don't want
that's true.
someone who just gives orders. You want someone who understands the ship.
Oh, that's so true. Thank you very much, Dr. Wells. I mean, appreciate that. And it's like, oh, okay.
And
I
I'm
need a smoke break now. Okay, great.
I will just give like a steely gaze towards Emma's direction. And then I'm gonna head towards the captain if he stays.
If you'd
Anyway,
like,
I think the captain's going to try to leave as soon as everyone stops looking at him for a second.
okay. Well, I mean, like, you can use that as cover, as a matter of fact. It's like, so while she's engaged with those people, it's like you can kind of sidle on out if you want. So, and I'm sure that Fetch has been like kind of back and forth with anybody that's left, or like, with the ones that have left. So I'm going to assume that the only people left in this room are Emma and Dr. Wells. Would you like to have this scene? Mona?
I mean, I'm not going to say anything specifically.
Right.
But I mean, if Dr. Wells has anything to say, then we can continue on with this scene.
Yeah.
Right. I'll just say there's nothing to be gained by making the passengers nervous.
Just a question, and I don't remember if we established this. Does Dr. Wells know that Emma is Captain Thomas's daughter?
Ooh.
Because she would know about, obviously, the
Right.
thing with the previous captain, but does she know that Emma?
Unless there's a reason that 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 she wouldn't, like if Emma had a different last name and had been, fairly not estranged, but maybe, removed from the captain's life. I don't see why she would not know. Unless, yeah, so I'll leave it to Emma or to Mona.
I have a suggestion for that too. Like, it's very possible that Dr. Wells knows the name of the daughter, but maybe doesn't know that this person is that daughter.
True. I mean,
Okay.
it's fairly common name, so yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But if she mentions that her father was a captain, I might be making the pieces, connecting the pieces.
I think
now.
you can make the connection
Yeah.
pretty easily. So yeah, I mean, if you want to address that.
Right. So okay. So yeah. So I'm gonna just look at Emma in a new light and say, do you have an agenda here that you would like to share?
I say I just want to know what's happening. I mean, don't we all?
You is there a name for the Church of the Broken Dreams, right? Is that what the
Yeah.
religion is? So you yeah, so you're a member of the Church of the Broken Dreams.
Is that a question, Dr. Wells?
It's a question, and I'm just wondering if there's a broken dream that you're here for.
Well, I'm on a pilgrimage, so I think I'm after a stable dream, but it's not like we're getting there anytime soon.
Let's see. Well, I'd like to reassure you that I will do all I can to make sure you get to your destination. If you'll excuse me, I'd like to see the captain. I'm going to see the captain.
Yeah, okay.
And I
Okay.
leave.
Okay, so we're gonna close out that particular scene. Now, not that we're not going to get to it, but the calling order that I had established is fetch is next. And again, fetch, excuse me, you will be calling out a scene, which you do not have to be in, which is fine. Okay. But you would be establishing who's in the cast, the setting, like where it is, time break, like how much time has passed since this particular scene with all of you, the mode, dramatic or procedural, and then a description of the situation, like what's going on at the moment that this scene starts.
So I definitely want to see the captain deal with Dr. Wells. I don't think Dr. Wells is one to dither around. So I almost imagine like the captain's like, like leaves the room and is almost like heads back to where they feel most comfortable or competent, right? And then shortly after they start doing the thing, because they probably feel relief doing the thing that they know and trust, the doctor shows up, right? Like as the acting captain, if this is very recent, like you're still not like, your mental mode is not to be like presenting yourself in a structure of authority. I think you're still too much in love with or too used to doing the thing, the engineering. The doctor's up. So I see this very shortly after the last scene, dramatic, and I don't know that there are any other characters outside of just the two of you there.
There doesn't
I-
have to be, and then like we can call this a
Yeah.
So let's see.
The only
Petition.
thing I think would happen is that there's like a log or a list of things to do that we see update, like kind of like to the side of the camera view as the
Sure.
audience.
Yeah.
And a new item appears. There's probably like a little like boat chime, bing, and then like fitted for captain uniform shows up there, and it's signed by Fetch.
Love it. Love it. Sorry. Oh my God, that's so cool. Love that detail. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and establish a petitioner and a grantor in this scene. So would you like to say that hold on, let's see. Yes. So the caller is the one that identifies the petitioner and the grantor in the scene.
Is the petitioner the one who wants something?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
I feel that would be, well, I could see either way. I feel like Dr. Wells has the intent to get something from the captain.
Mhm.
That's what I'm thinking is happening. So Dr. Wells is the petitioner and Captain Gordon as the grantor.
Okay. All right. So the caller can suggest what the petitioner might want, but it's subject to the player's approval.
I want to hear what Rod has to say about this.
Oh, so I'm the petitioner, correct?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, in a general sense, I want to know what the problem is, just like any other passenger. On a deeper sense, I want to have the captain I want to have it to get the captain start trusting me almost unquestioningly.
Okay, so that we've established the emotional need. So the petitioner wants the grantor to give them trust. So let's see how this plays out.
Cat.
What do we see the acting Captain Gordon actually doing?
Yeah, I think he's gone straight back to like getting his hands dirty with the engineering problem. But even though he probably should be like delegating things, he can't help himself. So I think that's where he's most comfortable, and so he's gone straight back into that to try. It's like soothing, right? Like therapeutic, like engineering.
The current engineer, the sub, or who would have been your sub or whatever, like in previous missions. It's like just looking at you, it's like, Captain, I can handle this. I really can. I mean, I've got the manifest and I've got the protocols. Like the algorithms are almost taking care of themselves at this moment. I mean, we can't do anything until we do something about the thing impeding our progress. I mean, don't you have something to do on the bridge?
It's just there's a knack to it though. Here, let me show you. And I think like I imagine they've got their backs to the doctor as she enters, and they're having this conversation hunched over some machinery, some esoteric stuff that makes no sense.
Yeah. So just be aware, doctor. It's like, there is somebody here to witness like whatever you're planning on doing, unless somebody sends the person out.
Yeah, so yeah, she'll just walk up behind them and like in between them and just kind of whatever's on the screen, she'll just say, what about the blah 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 relays and this, can you pull up that screen? And she's just kind of interpose herself so that they kind of like split to let her in closer.
Yes, Dr. Wells, hi. Is there anything we can do for you?
And I'll I'll just put one hand on the keyboard and like, just, and then, draw back to see like I'm basically just checking to see that it's not the ship, that it is like the outside, whatever, as the sub-engineer is saying.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can see the monitor. I mean, like, there's something impeding like the ship physically. I mean, like that thing that Emma had described. But you're like, I mean, you might be suspicious. You might be like, well, maybe that's not just it, Because I mean, the weight of this dream stuff wouldn't necessarily be the only thing that's wrong. So
Yeah, I think Gordon is like now he's showing like as if to prove that he's doing everything correctly. So he's showing the doctor. He says, "You can see, look, we've adjusted the compensators, but it's not working. It doesn't. I think it must be an above problem. We've tried everything, as you can see here. Like I've checked this," and he goes through all the details of all of these things that he's done. Just try to show that he knows everything about it.
the sub engineer is going to be going to the she's going to make her way out, and then she's going to say that she's going to check on the thermal cells, and then leave the room, leaving you two alone.
Yeah, when she leaves, I just look at Gordon and I say, it's not the thermal cells. And I'm gonna pull
That's
up
what I said.
I'm going to what if it's a human error, and I'm gonna check up like the BIOS, the bio readings on the pilot and see if there's anything there that might be problematic.
Yes, I considered that, but all the tests are passing. Everything's showing nominal. What do you recommend, Doctor?
I guess first of all, do I agree with the assessment that the pilot's okay?
Just decide for yourself. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm asking. I don't know.
For right now,
character, I have no idea.
Do we
No.
decide or
for right now, like the pilot's okay, but what is manifesting outside in the above? Well, yeah, in the above, right? Is something from this particular alien dreamer's dream. So nothing yet from the pilot. Believe me, you'll know. I mean, I will interject when there's something weird with the pilot.
All right. So I would suggest we start observing what's happening in the above. We have maybe an exploratory team. I'm going to suggest that. Can I suggest that there's a psychologist on the ship as a passenger, or
Absolutely.
am I okay? Yeah.
Even on staff, it seems like an important thing to have.
Okay. Yeah.
Deanna Troi, but maybe not really like reading your mind, like reading your dreams.
No. Yeah. No.
And but I think what might not be completely expected is that I know the name of this person, and but it's because she's studied the crew manifest and all that. So yeah, I suggest like like maybe a couple names from the crew, and put me to service, Captain. I'm happy to see what's out there and give you my assessment.
Well, thank you very much for that, for the offer. I think though, I'm sorry, but I think the procedure says that only the crew should be allowed into the above in this type of A1 situation.
I understand the needs for the protocol as the safety of the passengers, but as you know, I'm not just any passenger. I have experience, I have expertise. I think my opinion would be invaluable, and frankly, it wouldn't make sense to have me wasting my time here when I can be helping.
Of course, your opinion is hugely valuable. I'm very grateful for your presence. But do you think not in this case? perhaps I should lead the expedition, and perhaps you should stay with the passengers and reassure them.
I think that's a great idea that you lead this expedition. I still think it's prudent to have me by your side. I do have a different perspective on things, and I am familiar with all the safety protocols in traveling in the above. I even wrote some of them. So if that's your concern, please don't let it stop you from making a wise decision.
But the regulations clearly state he's kind of wavering, like uncertain.
You are the captain of this ship. You do have the power to, if the situation demands, make decisions that supersede the regulations that were written in a room in safety without the possibility of knowledge of all the scenarios that could come up. So that is in your power. And I'd like to commend you on your handling of the situation so far. I know this is kind of an unusual scenario.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Yeah, it has been trying. Perhaps you're right. We can't let regulations get in the way of practicalities. I will lead the expedition, and of course, you shall accompany me.
And with that, I think we're going to call that a cut.
Cool.
So, do we think that the grantor has given trust, as we established, as the emotional need of the petitioner? Do we think that's happened?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. I mean, you're pulling on your dramatic pull like crazy. Wow. I'm just like, oh my God. This is great. Okay. So I'm going to actually pull up the whiteboard. Give me a second. The correct whiteboard. Okay. So in this case,
Rod, that was very good manipulation. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to give a drama token to Rod for getting the emotional need met. All right. And I will.
Is it the other way? Do I give it? Because I.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's like we're pulling from the pool because nobody gets procedural tokens or drama tokens. When we first start.
I mean, do I get the token because
on.
I made the concession?
Let me see. Hold on.
Not that I'm like that. I don't know if we're really using these.
Oh no, you're right.
You're
right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're right. So
it's yeah.
That is
Okay,
fine.
cool.
Again, point me out, people, because it's like, sometimes I'm like, wait, which rule was that again? Okay, great. All right. No, so that's good.
Because I think otherwise it's like the idea is that I can just say no and then get a token. And it's like
Perfect.
easy for me to never change my mind, even
That's
though
true.
really I would, because it's more fun. But anyway.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's perfect. Okay. So we've established that. Okay. And then so Gareth now has a drama token that he will be able to spend, and we'll discuss later on what that can do later. Okay, so we've ended that scene. And then the next person on the caller list is Dr. Wells. So now, Rod, you can figure out what scene should go next. Again, cast, and you don't have to be in it. You would decide who would be participating, the setting, time break, how long after this particular scene, after the Captain Dr. Wells scene, would this scene happen?
Oh, speaking of break, should we take a break?
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you guys want to take the second break now, that's perfectly fine. I can pause.
When were we playing till? I forgot. Was it 3.5 hours?
Yeah. I don't remember what I said.
I think it was just 3 hours is what I have on my calendar anyways.
Okay. So and I put down extra time when I do the Zoom thing just to like, just in case, like, anybody's got to go over, or we have to finish something. So let's go ahead and take our break now. So to me, that means the 22 mark, and I will pause the recording and then we'll take the break. All right. See you in a little bit. Okay. So now we have, again, Dr. Wells deciding what the next scene is, like who is participating as caller. You would decide who's participating in this scene coming up, where it is on the ship or above, whatever, and then how long after, so time break, like how long after the previous scene is this occurring, and then a description of the situation.
I think the people in the scene would be Fetch and Emma Thomas, and I think it's in the ship. It's happening maybe concurrently with Dr. Wells and the captain's conversation, and I'll have Fetch as the petitioner, trying to, maybe he sensed the agitation within Emma at the meeting with the passengers, and is trying to nip that in the bud, or just make sure that Emma as a passenger is not going to cause problems, but is also satisfied with this trip, however you want to define that.
I was going to say, like, how would we define the emotional need of Fetch in this upcoming scene?
Dave, if you have any ideas, it could be that he's, one of his functions is to make sure that the passengers are taken care of. So he wants us to ensure that.
I almost feel like there's like each passenger, like Fetch, when we see it from Fetch's point of view, like the camera looks through Fetch's eyes, we see like each passenger has information, like almost like a heads up display, what their room is, what their preferences are, the status of satisfaction with them. So I feel like given the interaction previously, like this passenger is in one of those like yellow, if we're going to do green, yellow, red sort of classifications, and we want to make sure that at the very least that they're mollified, like complacent, like just not going to cause a problem. And so like the services that are probably popping up to suggest to Emma are like, hey, we have a pilgrimage program on the above that we can have you go. And basically it's just like a kind of like a labyrinth that keeps the pilgrims occupied by touring through these different experiences and keeps them out of our hair. So I think just kind of making sure that Emma doesn't interfere anymore with what needs to be done to get this ship moving, and will feel like or perceive that they are experiencing something supernatural or otherwise that'll at least keep them occupied. Kind of like putting your child in front of a TV for like 8 hours.
So you want Emma's acquiescence, you would say? Like you want her to?
Yeah, I want Emma to participate in this program that was probably specifically built for people.
So participation then.
I want them to say yes and to go on this exploration or pilgrimage of faith that we offer to some of our guests.
Like what is it? Complying, I guess. Like passive comply. Okay, got it. All right, I'll put that down as the emotional need.
And then for me, I'll be like, oh, they're now at green level.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, that makes perfect sense, and I love these details. So it's like, if I forget stars and wishes, people remind me. All right. Okay. So, and then this happens, you said concurrently with the Dr. Wells and Captain Scene, right? You said.
Yeah, I think
okay.
so. Yeah.
Great. So where would this happen? Like, where do you think that Emma and Fetch would be? Do you think Emma's still in the mess hall or elsewhere for this conversation?
Either in Emma's room or on her way there, unless someone has another idea.
Yeah, I think in her room makes sense, right?
All right, let's see that scene play out.
So unless invited to appear in the room, I probably feel like Fetch is outside and does the beep beep beep, like you have a visitor outside your door, and waits patiently for Emma to open the door or say go away or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, so do I know who the like they show who the visitor is? So do I know it's Fetch before I open the door?
Yeah, I mean, like, because I would say that, being a passenger, like you'd know, like there's like specific beeps and boops or whatever, and then Fetch has their own, right? I mean, like,
Yep.
because
Yep.
of being the go-fer. So yeah,
Yep.
I mean, there's a particular Fetch boop beep boop that you would hear.
Yes, I love it. Like when you turn on like an Alexa or something, there's usually a signal. Yeah, I feel like there's something like that. Maybe it's like the ship's whistle or something.
Yeah, so I think I'm reading something when this happens. So I I guess I finish a page or something that I'm reading. So it's taking me a while to get to the door, but not very long. Yeah, so I'm like, so do we call, so do the passenger usually call fetch, or do they call them go-fer or like what does fetch tell the passenger to call them?
Oh, fetch. That's
Okay.
that's its designation. And it's
Yeah,
probably
so-
like when you read the brochures or whatever for this cruise, probably fetch is one of those featured amenities that the
Yeah,
company,
so-
whoever's
Probably
So
all
Emma-
cap letters too, like it probably stands for something, but we
it
don't know what it
stands for
means.
something.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So bonus points, and I will give like a free Benny or drama token or whatever the heck we're using. I will give like a free one to anybody that gives me like a good like acronym. Like like what does fetch mean? Go ahead, put it in the chat.
Okay, so I think Emma is a little surprised to see like Fetch is like at the door because she was like, "Oh, Fetch, I didn't ask, I didn't call for anything. Why are you here?"
I'm here to help all of our guests.
Yes, I'm aware.
And I registered that you were distressed earlier. I want to make sure that we are here to assist and provide anything that you need that we can provide.
I mean the ship is stuck, so I guess we are all stressed.
Right. I would be happy to discuss some options for you as one of our special guests.
So Emma is a little skeptical, but she's like, "Oh, okay, okay, tell me about them."
And then you see like from the heads up display view, like sales mode on. And so like you may not even really realize this, but there's probably like some like mellow adult alternative music kind of playing in the back of your cabin now, right? Like very low volume to kind of help nudge people along to this. Yeah, exactly. To the sale. But where it fetches, imagine this. You, a pilgrim of the church, exploring the fundamental ideologies and principles of your faith in an aesthetically pleasing environment. You know, and like, and then Fetch will have switch their vocal cord, you know, their audio. It'll be like this sort of testimonial of a prior guest. You know, I really enjoyed reaching the 4th level of Nirvana. And, you know, and then switches back and says, and for a limited time offer, we're more than happy to bump you up to the gold tier level, where your auras and chakras can be massaged as you tour through this quest for inner peace. And just sort of like continues on for a little bit, and then trails off with this sort of like, almost like a mantra building. And then at the end, there's this like corporate tagline, you know, spirituality, one dream at a time.
Yeah,
then,
so, okay. Yeah, so Emma's eyes just went kind of dead, and she's like, and no, I'm good. Yeah, she says, I work at a tech company. I know what like commercialization is like.
So like Fetch is like doesn't do like what a human might do, which like the draw jobs, because this has never failed before. Like there's financial incentives, there's like, well, what else am I going to be doing here? I might as well do it. Like all these like things of like, what? Like disbelief flashes in front of Fetch's eyes. They're like,
I feel like there's a GIF or something like that pops up in a weird place. Like, what? Oh shit, you know, something.
It like does not compute. Like, what's going on here? And so like Fetch is like, did I mention that you will get a coupon for all you can eat buffet once you complete this? Like going totally like low bar.
So sorry, mate, I'm on a diet.
Well, if there's anything else I can do to assist you, please contact me by calling out my name, Fetch 001, and I will return. Like going like total like monotone, like the spirit of even attempting to do this is left Fetch.
Yeah, so I think because like Emma is totally treating Fetch like a person, so she has like a very sympathetic expression and tone, and she was like, yeah, man, I know what working for a coffee is like. I get it. Yeah.
So have you even opened the door, or is this all happening on the other side of the door?
Yeah, no, I definitely open the door first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
so
I think maybe like Emma was even trying to pat Fetch on the shoulder, and then she was not sure. Like she remembered that Fetch is kind of a drink contract, and she's like, "Hey, should I do it? Would my hand go through them?" So she decided to not, but like she almost like, "Oh man, I get it. It's okay."
So I think what you see is like Fetch is getting ready to like basically disappear because it doesn't seem like services are needed. And you can kind of like, normally Fetch has this very like pleasant, countenance and everything. It looks kind of dejected, right? So what does Emma do? Does Emma just say, so what? Or are you trying to like, console Fetch or something?
Yeah. So I think what I say is like, yeah, I know what working, like, yeah, we all have a job, yeah.
Oh, cool. So I think what Fetch is, yes, we all have a job. And some of our jobs are greater than our job descriptions, aren't they?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think work and job are the same thing. And I think a job is just a job, like something you do to get through the day, to pay your bills. But I think sometimes work can mean more. But like, oh, I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of people are stuck in like shit jobs they don't like, and that sucks, and that's why people want something more out of their lives.
I don't have any bills to pay.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's good.
So I don't know that I have a job by
Or
your definition.
yes, I guess in that way you don't so much as have job or work as you have a purpose someone gave you. You know, I don't know if that's something you want, because like with people a lot of time a job is something given to them, or sometimes it's something they do because they have to, but they don't necessarily want it. But I don't know if like if this is your purpose, if it's something you want or just something you do.
I was made to do this. And so I think like Fetch's appearance takes on a little bit more of Emma's. And the, very nice professional uniform looks a little bit more similar to your outfit, and like there's like a little bit of a dark hair appearing on the bald head. And Fetch sort of in a very quiet voice says, would you be willing to go with me to the outing that I was going to sell you to, and we can talk more about this? I mean, no charge. I mean, I just think you're making me think things that I've only been, and I haven't really shared these things with other people, but they've been in the back of my programming.
Yeah, I think Emma hesitated for a while because she's wondering if this is another trick or like if it's genuine. But she's kind of, oh, what the hell? She says, okay, fine. If you will be there, then I will too.
All right, then it's a date. I'll pick you up in an hour.
Yeah, sure.
And we call
Thank
that a
you.
cut. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. So do we think that the grantor granted the petitioner the goal?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. So, all right. It helps being on the correct whiteboard. Give me a second. There we go. There we go. So, Mona, you get a drama token for granting Fetch. Right. Okay.
And Rod come up with an acronym.
Oh, let's see. Friendly Endymion technician for comfort and hospitality. Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. All
That's
right.
great, Rod.
No, that is excellent. Thank you. All right, so let me go ahead and go back into the whiteboard. Okay, Rod gets drama token. All right. Right. Love when the buttons move. Okay, great. So we have about 18 minutes before like the end or whatever. I mean, if you
Yeah.
are able to stay a little bit later, because I mean, I would like Gordon, I would like Gareth to have an opportunity to call a scene and then like play out a scene and then have time for stars and wishes for afterwards. So what do you guys think? Yeah. Okay. Wonderful.
That works.
All right. So Gareth, what would you like to call for the next scene? Who is in it? The time break, like how soon after the previous scenes is this happening? Where is it happening? And like describe like, you know, what the scene like in it is when we enter and watch.
Yeah, sure. I'm thinking maybe a scene between Gordon and Fetch in which Gordon is trying to get some kind of reassurance or support from Fetch because he's feeling a little bit like out of his depth and a little bit like concerned about things. So I'm thinking sometime fairly close after the previous scene and before like the date or whatever's going to happen later. So I think in between there. So not too much time has passed. I guess it's like a captain's quarters or room, or I don't know what there must be some like ready room like in Star Trek where the captain hangs out and looks out of a window or something and looks pensive or something. So I'm thinking there, wherever that is.
The Endymion study.
So, is there like a oil painting of the prior captain still there?
Do you have Earl Grey tea waiting for you from Fetch?
I kind of get the impression that you really haven't settled into the room because you really haven't settled into the role.
Yeah, because I don't want to accept it. I think it's like I haven't moved on mentally.
So, oh God, pressure, right? Exactly.
You're still living out of your luggage.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gordon, you know, as the petitioner, what would you like Fetch to grant you in this scene?
So I want him to like reassure me and make me feel like what I'm doing the correct thing and I am capable of like getting this shit back underway and I'm doing a good job and I'm not totally like screwing it up.
All right. So I mean, like again, it's like, are we opening with both of you already in the room, or it's like, you know, you're thinking pensively, staring at this oil painting that is somebody else's, and you call Fetch into the room, like, you know, how?
Yeah, I think I've called Fetch and he's like he's on his way, hopefully, and then I'm by myself in this room, just staring at this like this huge imposing looming portrait of the previous like perfect captain who was did it all, knew what he was doing, and I'm just staring at it.
All right. So I think Fetch comes in and I think we've seen him like walk in a very sort of like professional sailor way, and he's a little bit like distracted, and he comes in and he sees the acting captain staring at the former captain, who I feel like in their pose is like looking out through the window, you know, like that's the frame, and then you see Fetch kind of look towards the window and then look back at the painting and then back at the captain and then say, "You called, sir?"
Yeah, thanks for coming, Fetch. It's good to see a friendly face.
And then Fetch kind of moves closer to you, maybe closer than normal, and you see them holding their hands like at different, well, and it begins measuring you. And like moves around to get your inseam and your collar, you know, using their hands as the measuring ends.
I think this just happens in silence for a moment.
Very awkward silence.
Yeah, an awkward
and then
silence. Yeah.
and And then probably on the to-do list, which is in most locations, is like measurements completed, uniform being processing.
We need to go on a mission to the above.
We do, sir?
Yes. Well, the doctor thinks so, and I agree.
Do you believe it's advisable to send our acting captain on an away mission?
Yes. Yes. I must be there. I need to. Yes, I need to lead this endeavor. I'm going to get us out of this. Question mark.
Very well, sir. What kind of mission are we pursuing so that I can make sure we have the proper equipment?
It's a B3 scenario, I think, with the standard equipment list. Pull it from the system, but
should we bring any additional specialists with us?
Yes, we'll bring the doctor with us.
The doctor's not a crew member.
I think we can make an exception in these circumstances.
Have we reached that critical point, Captain?
Yes, I can't let this happen again, Fetch. The captain, who I realize now we haven't named, but
The captain.
just the captain. That's the only name we ever had.
Well, if he's Mona's sorry, if he's Emma's dad, then
Captain
I would
Thomas,
assume,
maybe.
yeah, Captain Thomas.
Unless she's not called. Yeah. Anyway, let's go with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't on first name terms, clearly. Yeah. I can't let it happen again. The captain. What am I going to do, Fetch?
Well, normal protocol would dictate that we would have any non-personnel go through certification prior to mission. It's part of our insurance policy as well. Are we avoiding that for the sake of expediency, Captain?
Well, the doctor is no ordinary passenger. She wrote the book on this whole dreamscape travel. I mean, it hardly feels like I feel like you're using the letter of the law to defeat the spirit of the law there, Fetch.
Captain, are you pursuing a legal degree?
But no, what? Just splutters confusedly.
Does the captain normally like drink something when we have our like sessions? When we have our meetings like this? Water or tea or beer or anything?
Yeah, like I don't think he's drinking alcohol, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I think Fetch just as part of their programming, make sure to have these things available for you as well.
Yeah, so he just like produces a nice hot cup of tea or something and
Yeah,
hands it to him. It sort of wordlessly accepts it. Like it's just kind of yeah.
Well, you know that I support you as the acting captain. You are the best captain I have served since the loss of our previous captain.
So close. Since Captain Thomas.
Correct. What kind of captain do you want to be, Captain? Counselor mode on.
Did you see who is on the? Did you see the passenger list?
Mhm.
Emma Thomas. You know who she is, right?
I do.
I saw her in
You're going on
the
it.
mess hall, and it all came flooding back to me.
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
Wow, I'm remembering that it makes me feel so powerless. I have to get control of this situation. I will get control of this situation, and you're going to help me, Fetch.
What does getting control of the situation look like, Captain?
We have ruled out a problem with the ship. We must go to the above to get moving again, to resolve the problem. It cannot be resolved from the below, and that's what we're going to do.
What do you expect to find when we get to the problem, Captain?
I don't know, but whatever it is, we will deal with it.
And how do you normally deal with things, Captain?
When Fetch asks you this, you will hear from outside, even though, I mean, again, the Endymion is, hermetically sealed and all this kind of stuff. You will hear a faint cry that sounds like the whale singing that was described earlier as part of the stoppage of the ship. But you don't know how. Because again, the Endymion is hermetically sealed. There should be no way that any sound from the above should be able to seep in.
Did you hear that, Fetch?
Does Fetch hear this?
Yes.
It could be a malfunction in the insulation. What does your engineering experience tell you, Captain?
It doesn't make sense. I checked those readouts myself.
All readings were
Counselor-
fine. All parameters were met.
Counselor mode off. Captain, I feel that for you to move forward, we should pursue this at once.
Yeah, I think just you just see Gordon like nodding and kind of returning to looking up at the portrait of the captain. and
I think what we see, are we still standing, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I think what we see then is Fetch just, shakes off the distractions about the date, gets professionally distanced from you, and gives you this really nice salute. Aye, aye, Captain. Like total confidence.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Let's do it.
And yeah, then Gordon kind of returns the salute like quickly, like relieving you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we fade out on that scene. All right. So, do you think that Fetch gave enough reassurance to Gordon in this scene?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Like, yeah. He like kind of undermined him at first a little, but then but in the end, I think on the whole, I think yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let me see. So this time, I gotta get rid of all the extra whiteboards that were opened. All right. So now everybody's got a drama token. Fabulous. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I think I have to give mine over, don't I?
Well, I mean, again, we were just pulling from the kitty or
Okay.
whatever. So I mean,
Whatever.
like, I mean, but if you want to do it that way, I mean, I guess you could. But I mean, in this
I
case,
just thought that was how it works. But
I mean, it is.
I'm not super
probably.
bothered about it.
No, well, neither am I. You're not bothered. I'm not bothered. It's great. Okay. So we will close out the session today. And from what I saw, there's this mechanic called bennies that at the end of the session, we essentially look at the dramatic polls for each of the characters. And then in the scenes that they were in, did we think, you know, as the players, did we think that they, you know, showed their dramatic pole, one of them or both or whatever, in the scene, like towards the theme of the show, the episode, whatever. Again, broken dreams, unfinished business. Okay, so let's take each person in turn and then just like kind of look at that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, David and Gareth. I mean, I think, well, from what I read, drama tokens supposedly don't last like into the next session. I don't care if we bail on that rule. I mean, like, you know, I'm perfectly happy if people like get drama tokens and like, you know, we just use them again for next time. And then bennies allow people to get more drama tokens, essentially. So the tokens themselves are a maneuver to be able to, you know, crash a scene or not be able to have somebody crash a scene, or, you know, be able to apply force on whatever issue is being dealt with in a particular scene. So it's like if you apply force by spending a drama token, then you don't have to do it because it's like, you know, this is this is the outcome. That's it. Okay. So that's what the currency of the tokens means, as far as I understand it. And then bennies are just a way of having that option available. So tokens and then other actions that you can use with bennies. So I mean, we can work the currency that way. If it's not quite that way, I mean, hopefully I'll have it down by next session. But I mean, again, we're checking to see how people did in each of their scenes and assigning benny, you know, earning bennies that way. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's start with Gordon. Okay. So in Gordon's scenes, dramatic polls. So confident, skilled professional or an imposter. So everybody gets a vote. How do we think Gordon did in his scenes?
So
So
just go ahead, Ron.
my question was insofar as showing the conflict, the internal conflict. Is that what?
Yeah, I mean, like, well, I mean, like, as Gareth knows from playing Heroes of the Hearth, I mean, it's all subjective, right? I mean, like, you know, we're kind of like saying it's like, well, how did we think they did, basically? I mean, you could probably like, you know, get no vote because it's like, you know, if you didn't show your dramatic polls in some sense or way in the particular scenes that you were in. So, I mean, I would say it's like, how well do you think Gordon did in showing his dramatic polls towards the theme of broken dreams and unfinished business?
I think he did great. In
Yeah.
the first scene, he was very much into avoidance. Like he's acting captain pretty much because he had to, it seemed like, and then he ran away, which is awesome. And then the scene with Dr. Wells, that was really, I felt like, Gareth, I felt like your character was squirming a lot in there with trying to like, I'm here and I'm here, and Dr. Wells is kind of upsetting the balance. And then the last thing, I really felt like you were taking more charge of what you wanted to do.
Well, it's that play of between being with somebody that can be confrontational versus, or like, you know, like a challenging authority versus a friend, a trusted friend. So that does make a difference. But yeah, I would definitely vote for Gordon having that show of dramatic polls for sure. And I appreciate that so much because it was just like, you know, oh gosh, I'm so sorry, man. That was well done.
Yeah, I like my characters to suffer, so it's fine.
Okay. Well, I mean, you get a vote too. So I mean, like, how do you think you did?
Oh yeah, I was pretty happy with how it went. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mona, Rod, what'd you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it came through. I think the conflict came through.
Great. Okay. Now we're going to look at Emma. So, Mona, you obviously have a vote too, as well. You think how you did. But okay, so what's everybody's pitch? Like, okay, a believer looking for truth versus an unbeliever looking for facts. How well did Emma, you know, show her dramatic polls?
Yeah, I think that
Challenge-
came through. That
yeah.
came through a bit with. Oh, sorry. It came through a bit with the scene with Fetch. I thought quite nicely, like where it was like, oh, I'm in tech. I'm not buying all this BS. But then starting to be like, but what is a job or what is existence? And so it kind of, I felt like in that scene, you kind of touched on both those poles a bit.
Okay. Mona, how did you do? How did you feel that you did?
Yeah, I think the conversation with Fetch does touch on the subjects about like what do you believe and like what's real and what's not. So yeah, I think that thing is work out pretty well.
I agree. I mean, like, and it was just that conversation went from like, hard sales pitch to, oh, wait, we're talking about purpose now. We're talking about being real. Uh-oh. that was wonderful. So definitely my vote in there. Yeah. David and Rod.
Yeah, I think it came through in subtle ways, and in her bringing up the captain at the her father rather, um, showing that that's on her mind, and also how she reacted about the sales pitch, um, rejecting it pretty readily, even though it's catered towards the pilgrims. So yes.
Yeah, I like how basically Emma's character was the only one that like really demanded answers, like but it also had a personal agenda attached to it, obviously. So that was really nice.
Okay.
And I, of course, really appreciated the scene that we had. That was almost like very nonchalant deflection.
So cool. All right. Dr. Emily Wells. All right. Person with nothing left to lose, someone with everything to lose. I liked the pressure that Dr. Wells was putting on the captain. Like, just like, being very like conciliatory and just like kind of like, yeah, I mean, like, you've got this hard job. It's so hard. And you're doing your best. But then I can help you with this. And it's just like kind of like slithery and slimy as well. So I was like, yeah, you're playing it to lean in hard on you've got your agenda. You wanna do this thing that you've got in mind. So definitely my vote. Okay.
Yeah, it felt like for some reason I feel like your character has like a sleek glove and they're sort of wrapping their fingers around the captain and tightening it, right, for control. That's the feeling I got from that scene.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with all of that. It was really cool. The sort of subtle manipulation in that scene was really fun. I really liked that. I guess I haven't seen so much of Nothing Left to Lose yet, like the kind of despairing side, but I feel like that's gonna come. Like it's too soon for that anyway. Like it wouldn't really have felt felt like it wouldn't have quite fit with what we've got so far. So yeah, but on the whole, yeah, for sure, get the vote.
That would definitely be like part of my wish, like, you know, for next time. It's like, oh boy, now we get to see like what she's going to try to pull on this away mission.
Yeah.
Now that, or yeah, the above mission, now that she's like, you know, gotten herself like, you know, a ticket to go. Rod and Mona, like, what do you think?
I mean, I think, at least in my mind, that she's taking on roles that she's not accustomed to, and that her, you know, the dramatic pulls are kind of pushing her. Like, you know, she's not used to, you know, her comforting the other passengers. That's not a common role she would take, but she's taking it for her mission. Consciously manipulating someone to the extent that she did, I don't think is something she, again, would consciously do in her career and personal life, but she's doing it because she needs something.
Yeah, for sure. Like everything she did felt intentional and purposeful. Like,
Yeah,
I loved it.
yeah, definitely. Mona?
Yeah, I think this time she does come across as like throwing everything to the wind for what she's trying to accomplish. Yeah.
For sure. Okay. All right. And then Fetch. Now I'm gonna definitely throw in my vote for here because I mean, like, I did not expect how the conversation was gonna go when you were talking with Emma. And I thought that was wonderful because I thought it was gonna be like dead in the water after the hard sell, but I mean, between the two of you, you managed to change it around to being about existence. So definitely fulfilling that dramatic pull. So you get my vote on that one for sure. What does
Yeah,
everybody else think? Yeah.
I think that conversation does like fulfill the dramatic role for both of us, right?
Yeah.
Because like it started out about like, oh, whether I'm buying into this sales pitch and everything, but then it turns about being like, oh, what even is a man, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd vote absolutely. I definitely felt that. Definitely felt that you know, his programming to do what his role is came through, and then that twist with the the date definitely shows that he wants to be more, or they want to be more. So yes.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It was great that, like, I totally agree as well. Like that scene with the hard sales pitch and then no, and it was like, oh, I don't know where we're going to go from here. I was like, but I'm really glad we let it play out a bit longer because it totally became awesome. And it was like, what even is anything? What is being? Like, yeah, that was
That
great.
was so beautiful. Yeah.
And then yeah, that definitely gave Fetch the opportunity to show he could be more than a servitor or whatever. And I think it showed in the scene with Gordon that it was like more in his kind of duty role and his duty to the captain came through. So yeah, definitely vote for that.
Definitely. David, what'd you think of?
No, I came into given our relationships thinking that this is going to be my enemy. And now we're going on a date.
I was wondering about that because I was like, where the hell is this gonna go? This is gonna be dead. But no, I mean, you guys salvaged it so well. So I'm already just gonna start my stars. It's like, wow, that was amazing. So
and I like the last scene with Gordon too, because it was like just like I'm going into it thinking I'm gonna serve him, serve the cause, follow things by the book, like, do what would normally get you promoted, right? Good duties and all that. And then I stop it and become like a friend. It's just blatantly say, yeah, let's go do it. And that's what I feel like the switch came on for Gordon to really open up.
Yeah.
So it's like Fetch is like learning, like, when I don't operate in my program job, I get a better response from actual people. What the heck is going on there? am I failing at my job? Am I becoming more like them? Like there's a lot of ambivalence going on in Fetch.
And
I'm
I'm
not sure.
wondering, I'd have to rewatch this to see, because I'm trying to figure out whether it happened before or after Gordon made the decision to be like, all, no, we're not going to follow the rules. We're going to allow the doctor to come on to the
Well, the
on
doctor
mission."
convinced him. The
Well,
doctor
I know,
convinced
but I mean,
him
like,
to do that.
right, but I mean, like, was
Yeah.
that part of the thing that kind of flipped Fetch's
Mhm.
switch? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a,
Yeah.
huh,
Like given we didn't get to play directly between the doctor and Fetch,
right.
so I didn't get to fan out very
That'll
much.
be a wish for next time, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, you know, I think also like you could see that like, of course we can do this because the doctor said so. But I wanted to just check off my boxes first to make sure I covered them. Now we can do whatever we want.
Right, exactly. And that's basically what this particular session was about. So I'd have to double check it, because we're supposed to vote now, like, you know, who's was the best, you know, for the bennies, and who was like the, you know, the lowest score is the one that, like, you know, gets like the like one Benny, and then like everybody else, I have no idea. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. I mean, if you guys really want to do that voting, like, we can do it offline, and then we can, you know, assign the bennies for later. But I'm going to say that, you know, this was, I think, overall a successful session. So we're going to just advance right on into Stars and Wishes. Like, we'll worry about like all the real mechanical crap offline and then next time. But I think this was a really good playthrough of just the basics of doing this, of doing DramaSystem. I mean, like, you know, we didn't get drilled down into like drawing of the cards, or me getting all involved with like, you know, procedural scenes or anything like that. I mean, that could be the away mission. You know, I would imagine that's probably the case, but that should go quicker than actually doing the dramatic scene. So again, we can take that conversation offline and then see what we want to do for next time. But stars for everybody. I mean, like all of the scenes had something packed into it that I was not expecting. The way you guys started was not exactly the way that I thought it was going to end. And I enjoyed that so much, watching and then seeing how it played out. So again, you know, me not butting in with any cinematic cuts or anything was perfect. I mean, like, you guys played it out to its natural conclusion, and I didn't have to do any cutting, you know, per se, or like, you know, because I didn't think that the conversations were going in circles, because that's the other option. It's like, it's either the petitioner getting the grantor to give them what they want, or the grantor refusing, or the conversations and going in circles, and then the moderator has to step in and say, nope, you know, that was a wash. But I did not have to do that today, which was wonderful. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Bursting stars for all of you. I mean, we've already mentioned the specific scenes that we enjoyed because of the way they played out and the way you guys played off of each other. So again, stars for each one of them. And then wish for next time. It's like, you know, if you didn't get to engage another particular character in this session, then I want to see that next session for damn sure. Okay. And if you want to keep it all as dramatic scenes, we can. We don't necessarily have to touch on procedural, because this, again, the 2-shot is a snapshot of these lives that are living out this story. You know, we can't get to everybody's character arc. We can't complete necessarily like what's going on, but you guys have so much richness back there that we'll see. We'll see what happens next session. So I can't wait to see it, to be honest. So.
Yeah, stars for everyone. I really think the character came through with the dramatic potential, and a lot of things didn't, like, they go to places we didn't expect. And for wishes, I don't know. I didn't expect Emma to go on a date with Fetch, but I think, yeah, I think I would want to like see at least a scene where Emma like privately confront Golden about like what happened with her father. Yeah, because that's like her main desire. Yeah.
Stars and wishes. Anybody else?
Who's gonna go? Yeah, I've like got this nervousness. I'm just gonna talk all the time or something. Oh yeah, okay. Like yeah, to start for everyone. I think we kind of with all the polls, we've kind of reviewed the like highlights of all the scenes. So I feel like it's kind of redundant. I'll just be reiterating that, but it was really awesome. Everyone did a great job. It was really fun. I guess the only thing that isn't covered in the polls is like Mads' role as moderator. So he did an awesome job, I thought, as well. And it was like, it's really, I find it's quite interesting. It's helpful to have someone as like almost an impartial observer, like spotting things and just tweaking here and there, but like very subtly, like without like kind of stepping too much into the scene. So I thought you did a great job of kind of walking the tightrope or whatever the, the idiom is. But yeah, yeah, so that was cool. My wishes are, yeah, totally. I want to see Emma and Gordon like stuff that we haven't dealt with that at all. So for sure, I want to see a scene between them. I think it'll also be awesome to see like the Doctor in some way betray the trust that Gordon has placed in her, and for him to realize that maybe he has made a mistake. I really want to see that happen as well. That's it for me.
That's awesome. I want to give stars out to Mads. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm looking forward to the next session. And for some reason, I'm now like in my head, like procedural for the date. Like the one thing you think would be drama, we just hash it out and then talk about the fallout or whatever, right? So
The Endymion has a form of Google on it that will, like, you know, give you a protocol for how first dates should go.
Well, not just that, but first dates with pilgrims, right? You know that you have different belief systems. It's kind of like having relatives over for Thanksgiving. You got to figure out how to negotiate that. So I can almost see like Fetch doing like a simulation with different pilgrims and all that stuff. Anyways, would love to get into a scene with the Doctor and to just see where that goes, because I think unless something kind of weird happens on the away mission, I think it's the default would be to assist the Doctor in whatever scheme they have in mind. So the away mission is probably going to be a deciding factor. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to the next session. Everyone did really well. I'm really excited and pleased to be here. Thank you.
Remind me, is Fetch coming on the away mission, or is that not a possibility?
Yeah, because his friend, the acting captain, said let's go, and I don't know that Fetch normally goes on these things. So like I think I had a question about that, but I just said, well, if in this case Fetch is like, yeah, let's go do it. Let's do it.
Well, again, I mean, like if Fetch is doing something for the Doctor, like, you know, like totally personing the Doctor or whatever, you know, there is a possibility that maybe Dr. Wells could, you know, create something on the fly for Fetch to do the above mission.
Yeah,
you know, a little way from the ship. And then, you know, like this is my weird wish, and I'm like not sure how we're gonna try to do this, but I would love to see Emma. You know, like if Emma was able to sneak on the above mission and then confront Gordon, that's my wish. Like this is like not gonna happen on the ship. This shit's going down like on the above mission. You know, like that's drama. So
that sounds like almost like a season finale sort of confrontation. That sounds great.
Or a cliffhanger. We have
Yep.
cliffhangers in Hillfolk /
Yep.
you know, DramaSystem.
I'm all for it. So yeah, like Fetch normally like gets called away very often. That's part of its role. It's like if we're on this away mission and some person says, "Hey Fetch, can you get me some like toothpaste?" Be like, "I'll be back. See you in a few minutes."
I'm here for it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rod, we were interrupting you.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, I think some of the things I thought were said already. So yeah, there's there's a lot of moments that I really enjoyed. You know, the sales pitch, the twist with the date, I loved how Gordon's you know, internal doubts and desire is playing out in how he's interacting with this story and where that's leading to. And I you know, I enjoyed Emma and Fetch's interaction, and yeah, I'd love to see Emma be more of a even like a thorn in everyone's side in a way. And if there is a way like to bring her on the above mission, whether she sneaks on or there's a purpose, that would be great. So that we're all together. I'm looking forward to the above mission and seeing how the dream aspect of the game manifests. I enjoyed the measuring and the Captain Thomas painting. It's such a small, it's just a, you know, just one detail, but it adds so much. Looking out the window and all that, that was cool. I second I'd love to see how Emma interacts with other pilgrims, whether they be on the holographic data, or if there are other pilgrims on board. That'd be interesting. And if there's some crisis of faith that might await her, that'd be fun. Let's see. Oh, stars to you, Mads. For I agree. You had the right touch for GMing. You're omnipresent but invisible, like a god. So yeah, that was perfect. I'd love to see either a flashback scene or maybe a current scene of what happened with Captain Thomas and Gordon's role and how Emma processes that. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to a lot of mayhem and drama next time.
I'm actually going to say, like, for a wish for next time, and like we can again talk about this offline, but my idea is for that flashback scene, because I want to keep the scenes with all of you in the present. But for the flashback, I want to make it kind of like the opener for the next session, where each one of you answers that as a paint the scene. All of us are Gauntlet, so we should be fairly familiar with paint the scene. And I will create the question for what that flashback will be. Okay, so think on it. You know, if you have any ideas, obviously throw them in the Slack chat. But again, like, you know, that flashback could have echoes in the next session. So I am so excited. I am so glad that you guys enjoyed yourselves, and I cannot wait to see what chaos ensues for part 2. All right. You have a wonderful day, evening, whatever time zone that you're in, and I will see you next week. Bye.
See you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Cheers.
good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone.
Cheers.